Good morning, Canterbury community, and welcome to our ANZAC service. Everyone has an ANZAC story to share and reflect on. Today is my privilege to share a story that is special to our Year 10 and 11 cohort. During our last camp at Emu Gully, we heard a remarkable story about a man called Edward Sheean. Sheean's story of the importance of courage, mateship, and his incredible resilience is one that has stayed with me. Edward Sheean was known as Teddy Sheean, who was born in Tasmania on the 28th of December 1923. He received his education in Tasmania, then worked on the farm in his local area. Sheean enlisted in the Royal Australian Naval Reserves as soon as he was old enough, at the age of 18. 5 of his brothers would also serve in the Australian Armed Force, 4 in the Army and 1 in the Navy. Teddy was the only one who wouldn't make it home. During World War II, in November 1942, HMAS Armadale was sent on a top-secret operation from Darwin Deep into enemy territory. The corvette was to drop 63 Indonesian troops at Timor and rescue Portuguese women and children. On the 1st of December 1942, HMAS Armadale came under attack by 13 enemy aircraft. Despite evasive maneuvers, the ship was struck by torpedoes and bombs, forcing the crew to abandon ship. As the survivors entered the water, they were attacked by Japanese aircraft.
Amid chaos, Teddy Sheean made a faithful decision. Instead of seeking safety, he returned to his gun on the sinking ship. Though wounded in the back and the chest, the 18-year-old sailor fired relentlessly, shooting down one bomber and driving off others to protect his shipmates. Witnesses saw him still firing as the Armadale disappeared beneath the waves. Of the 149 people on board, only 49 survived the sinking and the harrowing days in the life rafts that followed. Precisely 78 years after his selfless act, Edward Sheean became the first member of the Royal Australian Navy to be awarded the Victoria Cross, Australia's highest military honour.
I welcome the announcement that today, the late Ordinary Seaman Teddy Sheean will be recognised with the Victoria Cross for Australia, the first for a member of the Royal Australian Navy. He was the youngest member of Armadale's ship's company. This story, this account, is the stuff of legend. Sheean's actions on that day, the 1st of December 1942, were absolutely amongst the most conspicuous and most gallant we've seen in our Navy.
His legacy also lives on in the Collins-class submarine HMAS Sheean, the only vessel in the Royal Australian Navy named after an ordinary seaman. No one can ever know what the modest Sheean, a farm labourer from Tasmania and the 14th child in his family, might have made of the grand investiture at Government House.
Teddy Sheean exemplified the characteristics that our first ANZACs left us: mateship, endurance, courage and sacrifice.
Reflecting on Teddy's character, his older sister Ivy once said,
Ted was the sort of boy who'd do anything for his mates. He was very determined and would not let anyone get away with anything. He could see the Japanese planes firing at the men in the water, and he wasn't the sort to hesitate to do all he could to stop them. He was dedicated to his mates. He knew he was going to die when he strapped himself into that gun as the ship was sinking.
Teddy Sheean's courage compels us to ask ourselves, how can we lead lives as meaningful, selfless and brave as his? When the Australian sailors go to sea in this new submarine, they could have no better name with them than the one of the young man who gave his life trying to save his shipmates. Teddy Sheean never saw the end of the war or the peace he helped secure. When former enemies became lasting friends, he didn't marry his sweetheart Kathleen, or enjoy the long life that many of his shipmates did. That was the price of his courage that day. Yet his name and legacy endure. His family and supporters fought tirelessly to see his bravery officially recognised and ensure that they live out of his motto of HMAS Sheean, fight on. More than 6 decades after his passing, the submarine bearing his name made its first journey to Devonport, near his hometown. Teddy's sister Ivy quietly watched the submarine and felt as though her brother had finally come home.
Nearly 8 decades later, the name of Edward Teddy Sheean will always be remembered. When me and my fellow students heard the story of Edward Teddy Sheean at our outdoor education camp, we were all incredibly moved. Our 3 days at camp pushed us out of our comfort zones. We faced physical challenges, participated in hardship-based activities, and worked together to build our teamwork and unity as a cohort. Our bodies were sore and our energy was low. Then came one final challenge, perhaps the biggest of them all. We were tasked with pulling a large truck the length of an airfield using only a rope. Many of us were unsure if we could do it, but with Teddy's story fresh in our minds, his resilience, his courage, and his refusal to give up, we knew we had to rise to the occasion. With determination and the spirit of mateship, our cohort came together as one. We dug deep, took hold of that rope, and pulled the truck the length of an airfield. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Hearing the stories of the ANZACs gives us a sense of perspective, and that is important for young people today. I am truly grateful for the freedoms I have.
I am grateful for freedom secured by sacrifices of people like Teddy Sheean.
I am grateful that their stories continue to be shared and remembered.
And I believe that with one simple decision to keep going, even in the face of adversity, we too can create a ripple effect of courage, unity, and hope, lest we forget.